Hey guys, yesterday Mojang released the final content snapshot of I think 26.3. Yeah, 26.3. We don't know the name of this snapshot yet since obviously it's not released. But snapshot 7 was the final content snapshot. So, I've made this world really quickly and I'm going to just really quickly recap over all the new features that they added that a would interest a casual player. So this isn't everything, but it's like all the update stuff. So I won't really be talking about bug fixes or technical changes in their own vacuum. I might offhandedly mention some of them, but at the moment it's just like blocks and a couple of extra features. So first of all, we've obviously got the poplar wood. This is one of like the highlights of the snapshot, and it's one of the first things they showed us. Okay, we've got some wood jittering there on recording. It's probably fine. This is like autumn trees, and depending on, I believe, where you grow the saplings, the leaves can be different colors. As we can see here, they are all different blocks and they can be quite nice for decoration. We've got a kind of nice looking like ashy grey. It's a little bit pinky, I think, color. It's kind of a shame that we got this right after pale oak, because pale oak is white and this is grey. It would have been cooler if we got a more interesting colour, like maybe purple or green or something. But, like, I've warmed up to this colour. I think that the trapdoor and doors texture should change a bit, because as you can see on these streaks, they're a little bit too smooth compared to other doors. But, it's all looking pretty good, and we've got the red shrub and the sapling. I had to place them diagonally, because if I set this block as a red shrub, it would update the bush, the tree sapling. And then, so there's really nothing interesting here. So it's just a whole new wood set. Nothing crazy about it. Craft's all the same stuff. Shelf mushroom. These are interesting because you can bone meal them to make them bigger. They can be used to make mushroom stew. And if I do, what's the command? There we go. Put it on your head and it makes like a duck's beak. It doesn't really work for me since that's where my eyes are. So it's kind of like those like weird horror games or something like that where they've got like the mushrooms growing out their eyes and stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, aside from being on walls and the fact that they bouncy, there's really nothing interesting about them. You can't even like put multiple in one block or anything, so they're a little bit boring, but they can be used to make mushroom stew. They don't have a big mushroom variant or a mushroom variant, which is kind of sad. Straw beds are interesting. Oh, by the way, this video is for people who haven't seen any snapshot stuff. So straw beds are just regular beds, but they're a little bit lower, as you can see. They're about, I think, just a little bit more than half the size. Yeah, that seems like it. And when you sleep in a straw bed, it will pass the night, but it will break, and it won't set your spawn point. It also stacks up to 16 instead of just the 1. So yeah, do that. Only 1. And then this is what a lot of people were really excited for, which is wall slabs and stairs added in the first snapshot, and concrete slabs and stairs added in the snapshot that just came out. I've just collected them together since they're both fairly similar. This is exciting, sure, to get new block variations, but it's just concrete slabs and wall slabs. There's nothing really interesting. Surprisingly enough, to me, these look more like sturdy and less fluffy than the actual wall blocks. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just the fact that the shape's a bit more complex, but it feels like, I feel like walking on these would give like solid sounds, but obviously then they don't. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's nice to have new block palettes, but I wasn't one of the people like begging for these kind of blocks, so I'm not super excited for them. Since again, it is just like concrete slabs, wall stairs, all the lot. What I'm more excited about that came from Snapshot 7 was the new map textures. As you can see, they've completely changed it, so now it's not just a recolor of paper. And something else interesting they did was they made it so that, where before, all these Explorer maps were just renamed versions of the empty map with some like modified data. But all of these are just whole separate items now. As you can see, Minecraft Plains Village map, Savannah Village map, Woodland Explorer map, etc. And this is honestly the highlight of Snapshot 7 for me, not the concrete stairs and slabs, this. Because I think just having a new sprite is going to be really cool, and I think it looks really nice. I think that it looks quite good, and I think it's one of those things where I prefer it over the old one, but it's going to take a bit of time to get used to. Because maps are one of those kind of things where you don't use them every day, like every time you play Minecraft, but you definitely see them in like chests and trading menus a lot of the time, or like in the game mode switch or in adventure mode. You see it a lot of the time, so it's definitely a pretty big part of the game. Not as big as like all the other stuff, but you know, it's still like there enough where this is definitely an impact, and it's going to be a lot harder to avoid than something like the Happy Ghast or something. It's a bad example, but still. And in 26.3, they're adding a new structure called Abandoned Camps, where you've got like a bit of good loot in stuff, you know, and then in some of these you'll get a secret copper chest where you can get some really good loot and some of the maps. Some of the like explorer maps. That's an ancient city map. It's very good. And you can get some valuable resources like, you know, diamonds, iron. You know, it's not too bad, not too bad. I quite like this. You got straw beds, the cushions, which we will talk about in a little while. The wall stairs, obviously, and I think it all looks like it's a pretty good way to just collect up most of the features here in 26.3 into one structure, so people can walk around in like the plains, discover it, and go, "What the heck is all this?" Now, before I speak about the cushions, which is like a whole thing, I'm leaving the cushions because they're just the coolest part about this update, I think. I'm going to talk about a few of the more technical based stuff. So first we've got a new command, which is the post effect command, which is basically shaders. The blur will obviously add a blur filter. Entity outline, I don't know what the entity outline does, because it doesn't look like it's outlining my entity very much. And yeah, it doesn't make a difference on the hitboxes, but whatever. Also, you've got creeper, invert, and spider for like from when you would like, I guess, possess an entity in spectator mode. And you can apply all of these. Whoa, creeper with blur is weird. What the heck? Does it apply? Oh, wait, no, this is different looking now. Wait, I'm so confused. Does it apply it Yeah, it does. Whoa. That's really cool, actually. Okay, so depending on the order you apply them in, it will overlay stuff differently. So if I do this, that's going to look different from if I do this, for example. You can see, yeah, that looks way different. Whoa. I didn't expect that. It's weird. I don't know what I was expecting. But yeah, if you can have some pretty cool effects with it, mess around with it. And the best part about this people have really been messing with is using resource packs. You can add more shader packs. More, not shader packs. Since these can't technically, these aren't shaders in the same way that like vibrant visuals or like complementary is, where you can have realistic lighting. It's just as the command states, post effects, so making the screen green and pixelated, inverting the colors, whatever the heck you'd call this, or applying a blur effect. But you can not only do that, but you can also just overlay like images over it that are like reactive to like your actions, which is interesting. Like someone could probably make Minecraft in Minecraft using the shaders. And someone made Tetris and it was like really responsive. And Phoenix SC made Flappy Bird, which is impressive. I don't know, man. And then this is a bit more technical, but oops. Oh my god. Now in Spectator mode, you can see when you hover over a portal block, the crosshair appears and it gets like the block outline, because you can teleport through. Oh my days. That's so loud. You can now teleport. Ignore all this. Ignore it. Hang on, I need to load the nether. The heck? Okay, well I'm gonna demonstrate it here, but that's really strange that it's done that. I don't know why it's... Right, anyway, let's come back here. It's more technical than anything, and it's only really good for like maybe like admins of a server or people with like an alt account trying to do filmmaking or something if they don't want to use flashback or you know what have you. This one is a feature only for Java Edition. It's the friends list. Obviously it's a UI thing. Now when you'll press the pause menu, you'll notice these 4 buttons. Yeah, let me open to LAN so I can no. Oh, never mind, there's no players. I might be able to... Does this count as a player? No, okay. That's not a feature of 26.3, that's always been there. Anyway. Yeah, so player reporting, feedback giving, and bug reporting are all the same. Unfortunately, 2 out of 3 of these buttons are just external links. What's really interesting is this button here, which as you can see is friends. In the first snapshot, it had the ability to join worlds similar to Bedrock Edition or the Essential mod, which I don't really recommend using. It's got like microtransactions and stuff. And there's nothing bad about it, but there's better things to use. But now, unfortunately, it's just friends, so you can like see usernames of your friends and the skins they've got applied and stuff. For example, I've got my alt account here and some like school friends. Requests as well, pending requests. This is all pretty useful. It's a shame you can't join worlds anymore. I think what they're trying to do is... I don't remember actually. I remember when it first got removed, I saw like reasoning for it, but I cannot remember why for the life of me. And now we're getting to the good part, the cushions. These are really cool. If you haven't already seen, if you grab a block with... In fact, I'll just use snow layers to properly showcase, but they can... These things can be placed on like any flat surface, no matter what height it's at. Which is obviously really cool. But not just that. Oops. If you grab something, yeah, like a fence, cushion, you can just put it inside of blocks. It is like, the only constraints with these cushions are like one bug with the first game was that, like, if you had composters, cauldrons, or hoppers, you could place them on the side for just putting it anywhere you wanted. That got patched. The only real constraints are they are fixed to the block grid, like an actual block, and you can't have a cushion inside another cushion. It just will not let you do that. So, like, if I grab a lectern, put a cushion there, even if I was able to, like, yeah, look, I can't put a cushion down here, because it would, like, intersect with that. But if I do this, then I can have two cushions on top of each other. I think because of the model, you can see there's, like, a tiny little gap, which is an interesting thing. I don't think it's a bug, and I doubt it's going to get patched out or anything like that, but yeah, anyway. And that's, like, the only constraints. One thing that I saw people being worried about when this first released was that these are entities, and actually, as you can see, hitboxes on, there's a lot going on. Right. Oops. But these are actually pretty well optimized. I think Phoenix SE got like 30 million cushions on his screen. Not Phoenix, but maybe not Phoenix SE, but like someone else got like 30 million cushions on their screen, and their Minecraft was still performing pretty well. So, you know, like, plus I don't mind. Everyone like talks about how, like, if you don't have your entity distance super high, they can yeah, disappear, as you can see there. But I don't actually care about that too much, nor do I care about the, like, optimization concerns with cushions. Minecraft can always be more optimized. I'm not like, I I'm not opposed, that's the word. I'm not opposed to Minecraft being more optimized, but these are pretty well optimized, and they could be more optimized, but they're not terrible. So everyone's concerns really were just kind of unfounded. And as for disappearing when you get far enough away, that's not too terrible, you know? It's like when, like, it's a bit of a bad example because that's way farther away, but it's like in the Distant Horizons mod. You've got, like, the low detail models off in the horizon, but they're so far away that, obviously with Distant Horizons, they're so far away that you can't tell. But with these, it's so far away that it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, it might look ugly from far away, but you're far away, so who really cares? And you might look at this and, like, yeah, this is cool, and you can sit on it, and that's really cool. But, like, so what? Which is where our lightning round comes in. This is just going to be me showing, whoops. This is just going to be me showing off a bunch of cool things that either I've made or I've seen made that you can do with cushions. And the first one is obviously LEDs, which you can make with, like, wall signs or wall banners. I'm stupid as hell. If you put a sign or a banner on a wall, pop a cushion on top of that bad boy, break the sign, whoops, and then place a block, it blacks out the whole thing, and then using blocks of different light levels, you can vary them. Copper bulbs are the best example of this, since it's all, like, the same, I guess, collection of blocks, but there's a huge gradient you can make, and that's ignoring the 16 extra colors. Then there's also always on lamps. If you don't want the topper, you can use iron frames instead, but this basically just takes advantage of the fact that wooden pressure plates can be activated with any entity, and since cushions, iron frames, and a lot are entities, it means there's just constantly an entity on there, so it always stays activated. Unfortunately, though, it won't activate the first time you play it, I guess because it's not being updated, so you do have to manually activate it, and then it will stay on. I think the iron frame could always have been used, but the cushions can make, like, a nice urban-looking topper thing. Now, this is something I made, as opposed to those two, where if you put scaffolding in, like, cushions that So if you use snow layers, pop a cushion on top, it's actually level with a slab, and then you put a scaffolding in there, and it looks like really nice and proportionate for a chair. Put some shelves on there, put a cushion on there. You know, it looks pretty good. Unfortunately, this only works with like slab floors, but that's not a huge travesty, really. It's not like slab crafting tables looks abysmal, you know? And in fact, because of this, I decided to make texture packs for every variant of scaffolding that just turns it into a different wood type, including stuff like warped, dark oak, cherry, pale oak. I even made one that's based on the the ingredients of the crafting recipe, where this bit is white and this bit's like the bamboo green. And all of the colors I changed were grabbed straight from the plank or item textures. So like, you know, it's pretty accurate. And I've got them on a Google Drive link right there. I would upload them to Modern, but that's a massive hassle and I don't really want to. The next thing is this cool decorative boat highway, which is, yeah, it's basically just, I put chests down and then put cushions on them and then replace them with ice. And it uses carpets to keep loans from going off the road or off their lane. As you can see here, I'm boating forwards and, you know, that does not move out its lane. And I really like this. Oh yeah, right, one of the things I forgot to build ahead of time, which this reminded me of, is people have used... Perfect. People have used snow and cushions to make these cool like block detailings with the floor, and obviously like since it's stairs and stuff you can just walk over it without any issues. Pretty cool for roads or like floor designs and such. And they've made some really nice roads using it, but I honestly just prefer this. It's a little bit uglier, yeah, because you got like the square grid and all that, but it's functional, and it still does look pretty cool. And you've got a sidewalk that you can walk down. Oops. Sidewalk, whatever you'd call this. I don't know, man. This is like coloured honey by using. This is blue cushions. It makes it a bit grey looking, so it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, it uses snow layers, cushion, 2 snow layers, cushion, 2 snow layers, so on and so forth until it fills a full block. And then you just really quickly replace the snow with honey. It's a little bit tedious to get right because sometimes you might accidentally break the cushion. Sometimes the cushions might pop off before you can place down the honey, but that's besides the point. I didn't make this either. I made the road, I made the chair, and I made what's coming next, as well as that over there. And back in the day, you'd have to use like minecarts to accomplish this, but it was kind of tedious. But if you put an amethyst geo down and put a cushion on there under the head of a bed, you could tuck yourself in the sheets. And before, what everyone was talking about was this. This is what everyone's talking about. And if I slash time set, actually no, I'll just use villager. Look! Okay, oh, to be fair, it does actually work for the villagers. But it's only half of the actual thing, and it doesn't really look like we, when we're sleeping in it, are actually all that tucked in, I guess. Yeah, you can see there, like, it's super far off me. Which isn't great. But if you then sit in this cushion and look up, you're like actually perfectly tucked in. You're not sleeping in the bed, so you could put a cushion on there just to be safe in case you do want to still have like a blanket over you kind of while you're actually sleeping in it. But this is really cool. I like this. It's good for like general cosmetics, or maybe something to like surprise your friends with. Now, unfortunately, yeah, you have this problem where when you get out, you're stuck underneath the bed. So you just break the block out here, and what I've done is I've really quickly replaced the amethyst geode with stairs. Because if you amethyst, not geode, but cluster, sorry. Obviously, you know, you take a block. If you break it and then really quickly place another one, you can just be there. And then you sleep here. It's almost completely invisible from one end. Obviously, like, you're still pretty visible under there, but ignore that. Yeah. And you do spawn like a little bit inside the block, as you can see, but because there's the lower half of stairs, you can just jump up and boom, you're out. Now these two are a little bit more based on hiding cushions inside the blocks. Obviously you can pop a cushion on top of the stairs and, you know, sit in it, but people have mentioned that the stairs look a little bit like the cushions are a bit too high. So if you use snow layers, you can just place a cushion literally inside of the lower half, and it looks like you are just sitting there. Unfortunately, the hitbox is a little bit finicky, so you just have to like hold your mouse button, your use button, which for me is left click, and just kind of just scan over it until you can sit on there. But yeah, it looks really nice. Now, I'm not claiming to invent putting a cushion on the stairs. Obviously, everyone thought of that immediately. What I'm claiming to, I guess, invent is something more interesting. Obviously, yeah, you've got the cushion on stairs, but if you hover over the bottom 2 pixels and like surf over the surface with your use button, you'll find yourself inside the block, and then when you sneak, you fall through because there's a fence there, and then you can get out. Yeah. Yeah, that's everything in added to 1.7, as well as a couple of notable things that can be made with the cushions. Aside from just, well, with you as the exception, aside from just having seats, there's a lot of cool decorative things you can do with cushions. And this is all just decorative, mostly. Like, there's probably a few cool utility things you could do, and once this update releases and all the non-snapshot players actually get their grubby hands on this, and as time passes and smarter people than me have more time to experiment, I'm sure so many cool things will come out of this, from decoration to like really high-tech mob farms. And obviously there's also this cool stuff, which, I mean, as you can tell based on the fact that this is almost half of the things, I genuinely think the cushions are the most substantial and just coolest part about this mod, because they're just so versatile. I mean, not to say I don't like any of this stuff. I like all of this stuff. I think this is a good update. I think with like the Chaos Cubed, or like the Happy Skies or whatever it was called, that was all stuff that I'm not going to really interact with much, but this is all like, most of this stuff is fairly like casual, decorative blocks, you know, and I like it, and I really like the abandoned tents as well. I'm not sure why, but just it like, it's going to feel nice to find in the forest. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the snapshot. I think it's been shaping up to be a good update. So, with that, let me know what kind of ideas you have with the cushions, because I do want to see what people come up with. Let me know what you think of the update overall. And I shall see you later.